What if love is more than just a feeling? What if it's a universal force shaping how we understand ourselves, our community, and the world? Welcome to the philosophy of love, where we break down the science behind love, how it influences our minds, our behaviors, and the way we connect with humanity. Join us as we explore the psychology of love as a driving force for empathy, growth, and understanding. You're watching the Philosophy of Love podcast with Juan Lee and Dr. James Brockington.
Well, hello. Hey, Doc, guess what? Can you move your camera up a little bit? Because you're just a talking head real so quick.
Talking head. Okay.
Hello. I meant to tell you that before we started. But anyway, hello, welcome everybody to Philosophy of Love. My name is Juan Lee, and that's Dr. James Brockington. And we are here again talking to you about the philosophy of love. It's the science behind love that we're talking about here. And it's sponsored by Clear Journey, a nonprofit that supports individuals that are looking for answers to life's challenges. And what we do is we provide education and resources so that you might be able to live the life that you desire to live.
Key point, you desire.
And be all that you can be. Yeah. See, I'm hoping I'm going to change my camera a little bit now too, so we don't talking heads. But anyway, Clear Journey. If you want to learn more about Clear Journey, go over to clearjourney.org and learn more about it. You'll probably see that up on the screen, and you'll learn more about what we have over there to offer. But in addition to that, if you also go over there, I'm the author of the book, Love Made Simple, The Guide to Inner Peace, Contentment, and Success, which is the foundation of the nonprofit, which is having to do with the love mindset. And you can also go over there and to Amazon. It's also on Audible. And it's really about changing the perspective of how we navigate life. You know, it's a book that really shows you, look, love is not easy. It's simply once you learn it, understand it, but it ain't easy by no means. We're going to discuss that a little bit tonight. But yeah, go over there and get that. But if you go over there also, we want you to have the copy of our book, where we think it's necessary for all of us to be able to understand, take care of our money. Budgeting Made Easy, the guide to taking charge of your money. Over there, free digital book that you can download over there by just clicking the button. All righty. So we want you to be able to be all you can be. And we think that the finances is very important for you to be able to do that. All right. We're going to have, I believe, a pivotal conversation in the biggest theme as relates to love. And the title of our episode this evening is God is Love. So why are so many, and I'm going to preference this because in the title we had Christians afraid to love, but we're going to since then realize that we could say, so why are so many afraid to love? You know, why isn't it that so many are afraid to love? And we have had, the doctor and I have had a good lengthy conversation prior to this recording. And it's just so multi-layered. And we're going to just start right in with the statement right there. God is love. And it's like when you hear that statement, God is love, what emotion comes up for you? What happens? What happens when those two words or those three words come together? What does that happen? What happens there, Doc? What's going on when we hear that?
90% of the time when we hear God is love, the emotion that springs to mind is that of affirmation. As an emotional acknowledgement of connectivity, clarity, consistency, purpose, and meaning, affirmation gives us an acknowledgement of foundational stability. At our very core, there is a stable foundation that builds us into an awareness of the meaning and purpose of what emotionally love is designed to illustrate to us. And that illustration is a logical slash living, organic and vibrant emotion. Logical and living speak to the figure and the form, the purpose and the meaning. Loving speaks to the capacity to illustrate that purpose and meaning in three very distinct steps. And those steps again are the organic, the vibrant, emotional alignment.
And,
Emotions have only one purpose, and that is to connect us to something that's occurring that was not taking place a moment ago. And here's the thing, the moment we can understand, accept, and acknowledge love as something that was not occurring a moment ago, we are triggering within our capacity to think critically, think and reason all of the necessities that define why it is so significant to us. See, once we understand the significance of love, we are going to facilitate its purpose and its meaning because that's how love is constructed.
and so what is that? What is that then for us? What is love then in that sense?
In that sense, love is connectivity, the
And that is
connection.
and that connection is indeed universal.
It is, in fact, universal. In fact, and see that's sometimes where the struggle comes in place. When you accept something as a fact, that means it has been operationally defined in its purpose and its meaning. So you in effect know what it is. And when your knowledge normalizes that operational worldview, you see what I did with the word know? When
Hmm.
your knowledge normalizes your operational worldview, there's a sense of consistency and clarity. I know what this is. I'm not confused by what it's not, becomes your strength in determining how best to pursue the outcome result that you seek. Because now I know what is required of me to maintain this sense of alignment,
Of that connectivity.
of that connectivity, and that becomes the affirmational purpose.
And and as you said that, so the statement God is love, if we were to make it our put it in our own words,
Mhm.
you would now I would say that it explains based on what you've said the need to universally be connected.
And to express the affirmation of said universal connection. See, we live it and we become it. You think it and you are it.
Okay, so you've even gotten a layer on top of it, meaning that it's more specific to is not only the need but the application of demonstrating it also.
And that is the binary of our existence. See, we are, as creatures of existence, binary, this or that. Expression, meaning, purpose, acknowledgement. We have that capacity to operationally define what our existence is by our acceptance and acknowledgement of its meaning and purpose. That is sometimes what we refer to as our fourth instinct, active
Okay,
mindfulness.
okay. So then, is there another statement, phrase, phrase that would resemble God is love in the totality of what you just explained?
The other phrase that would exemplify the example of the phrase that I just used is the one that is most commonly referred to whenever that topic comes up, because it's the central question that Moses asked when he was receiving his missioning and his tasking to return to Egypt and free the slaves. Moses says, and I'm paraphrasing it now, by whose authority will I be able to tell Pharaoh that I have the ability to do this? How will I answer the question when I'm asked, who gives you the capacity to do this? And the most prolific comment in the Bible is, I am that I am.
Now, that is in and of itself a very profound phrase.
Absolutely.
And so you will compare that to God is love as there's the same degree of profoundness that goes to the significance of exactly what we are a part of in this existence of humanity.
And this existence in humanity, what we are a part of. And to add a further sense of integrated quality to it, one of our most prolific philosophers, Deepak Chopra, wrote a book several years ago that's entitled How to Know God. How to Know God. And without getting into all of the chapter and verse of it, I'm going to distill it down to what is drawn out of it as the reinforcement of the I am that I am statement. Chopra says in the final analysis, God is as we are.
And you know what? As you know, that is not very profound as you would think if you really understood. I mean, that's the I mean, that's the end result of everything that you read in the Bible. That's the end result.
That is exactly correct. It is what we evolve to in the evolutionary progression of knowledge. And again, I'm going to emphasize by knowledge, what I'm talking about is the capacity for clarity and affirmation of what later becomes wisdom. And knowledge is what has normalized an operational worldview. When you know something, what you have done is taken knowledge to normalize your operational, how you function in the world,
Mhm.
view of things. And something as prolific as the statement, God is as we are, shows you that wide berth of what it means to be created in his image.
Well, again, that's why I'm saying, I mean, if you was to wrap the whole thing up and just try to go with it, what is it that we're trying to identify with is to be a representative of that creator in his creation.
In his creation. And by being the example of the creator in his creation, we give it the organic vibrance of its living prophecy and its living
Yes,
purposing.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's you could take the Genesis to Revelation and wrap it up and say, okay, just do this.
Just do this.
Just do this.
That Jesus told you on the mountaintop. Here your beatitudes. Just be this. Your belief
Actual,
alignment and
actualize, yeah.
actions. Yeah, your belief actualizes as your energetic commitment to this. Be this.
Whoa.
Be this. And then we go all the way to I am that I am. See the simplicity of it. I'm nothing more than what I have demonstrated to you I am. And now you see the sincerity of love in a relationship. When you get to the point where your partner in that relationship knows with precision, clarity, and affirmation that say so is
Is
so,
so.
Look at the trust and confidence that that facilitates.
But again, this is how understanding love transcends all of your areas of your life. It is basically addresses the attitudes necessary to navigate this thing called life.
And by
Every aspect of it, because every aspect of it is based on relationships.
and look at what it does for you. It equalizes the significance of every aspect of it. You can't do one aspect of it without the other to support it. Here's the binary again, this and that. Composite it. And the more you composite and effectively engage in that binary, the relationship becomes the partnership. And that's what's missing sometimes.
Sometimes,
Well, you know, being magnanimous.
sometimes, I mean, this is unspoken territory that is it is look, all we're looking for is clarity. If we can
It
gain
really is
clarity,
clarity.
if we gain clarity, then we're able to act in compliance with that clarity. Without clarity, we're searching for something that is confusing at best, and we're trying to figure it out on the run,
On the fly.
on
Yeah,
the fly.
on the fly.
But with love as the clarifier, understanding love, understanding how significant it is in bringing forth clarity in every area of your life,
In every area. Mm-hmm.
every area of your life. It's the motivation and it's the processes of alignment that allows everything to move and to flow.
When Dr. a psychologist by the name of Robert Sternberg, a humanistic psychologist as well as an actual industrial educational psychologist, spoke to it in establishing what he called as the theory of love, the triangle. He spoke to the significance of the intimacy, the passion, and the commitment. The intimacy, the passion, and the commitment, they become those unifiers. And by virtue of being those unifiers, become the stability that establishes what I want us to see now as the point of our discussion, a fixed point. It is this fixed point of alignment and awareness that we are attempting to clarify for individuals. Why is this so significant? Because this fixed point becomes your center locus, your center of acknowledgement and meaning. Your where binary now becomes singularity.
And that right there is the example or the intent of marriage.
It is the byproduct
I
that
mean,
should be the
yeah.
intent of marriage.
And the thing about it is, apart from that, we've redefined what marriage is and says that is not that's not necessary.
And you know, by doing that, what we have done is established, and I know we discussed it earlier offline, but I'll throw it out there because it has to be thrown out there. We've established the dichotomy between conditional and
And
unconditional.
unconditional.
You know, all right. See, when you take love as it is designed, it's an unconditional affirmation.
And the thing about it is that the problem with that is that how is it that we have established conditions to love? I have no idea.
Because
No
we're trying,
idea.
you know,
We gotta.
we argue for the avoidance of the responsibility and the accountability that this brings to what thinking, critical thinking, and reasoning underscore. Critical thinking is that ability to accept what you understand. In your thinking, you understand the conditions and the limitations that exist. Again, the binary, this and that. You can see the conditions that are the limitations. You can understand that. I can understand the difference between hot water and cold water. I get that. I can accept that they exist, and because I can accept that they can exist, I can acknowledge how to use them as a meaningful and purposing giving tool in my life, and my decision making is no different than scenario that says to you this organically and vibrantly is what the emotion love is. That's unconditional acceptance of
Look,
what you understand.
that means that there is no, how many times have I said this? There is no conditions to love.
No,
So as to say that there is this thing called unconditional love is almost like it's almost an oxymoron, because they're meaning the same thing. You can't have one without the other one.
but the moment you argue for the limitation, that is now holding yourself accountable and responsible. You see, that's a
Yeah,
limitation. Holding
yeah,
yourself accountable and responsible for
yeah.
what you just defined. The
hmm
moment you argue for it is the moment unconditional now becomes conditional. And here's the argument.
Yeah, and that thing that I said, until death do us part, becomes until I feel like it.
Until I feel like it.
As
You know,
long
it's
as I
part.
feel like it.
It's just, hey, let's get even more vulgar about it. It's just a signature on a piece of paper.
Yeah. Until I don't feel like doing it no more. I
Until
mean,
he or she turns my head the other way.
again,
Really.
it's amazing what we don't. And look, here's the thing: in that instance, we make a pledge. We commit to doing something that we don't know or understand.
And more to the point, accepting the fact that we don't know and understand.
Don't care.
And therein lies the acceptance, because you throw it under the umbrella of I don't care.
I did not even, it's not even necessary. And here's the point. At any point in time would require growth and development to care. Would
Your
require
third
it.
your third instinct, emotional gratification, your fourth instinct, the interactive mindfulness, now are in direct conflict. You can see the thunder and lightning of the heads butting in that conversation. Emotionally, my gratification is this, but I don't want to actively engage my mind in thinking about what this means, because the moment I do that is the moment I now become what? Accountable and responsible for
Which is going to require growth and
and
development
development.
if you're going to endure whatever it is that you've entered into.
And this is this is where the plotting of your trough now has significance. We agree to do this.
Mhm.
And we get magnanimous. We agree to do this in the face of. However,
Irregardless of.
irregardless of, we agree to do this, and then 15 minutes later, and I'm exaggerating.
Yeah.
15 minutes later, we're tearing the paper out, walking away.
Yeah. I mean,
It's too hard. I can't do this. It's too hard. Now, don't get me wrong. I will be the first person to tell you, when you are in a quote unquote relationship that has become a partnership that is still dysfunctional, and I'm not going to tell you how many times 3 o'clock in the morning you get that phone call saying you need to come down to the emergency room because your client is in here with a dislocated shoulder, a blackened eye, and she's still talking about how he loves me. We need you to come down to talk her through this. I'm not going to go there because, quite frankly, I don't want to go there and get depressed for the rest of the night. But I'm going to say that's the argument. That is.
well,
That
again,
is.
but that right there is really the example of those that don't know and don't understand and can't and don't know and confused with what really it means, what love really means.
Because they argue for their limitation or confuse
But
them.
and then in this case, their limitation is the feelings. Their limitations are their
Exactly.
feelings.
See, we fundamentally in every discussion you and I have, we always come back, we always roll back to the separation between an emotion and a
Emotion and
feeling.
a
They're
feeling.
not the same thing.
Well, and the thing about it is, and here at the root of it is love, is the point of being able to navigate and understand love so that you can distinctly differentiate between the two of those,
Exactly.
so you can get to the sincerity of what love is.
And the singularity.
Yeah. I
Because, see,
mean,
it's a single event. It really is.
you, and it's moment by moment.
Exactly. That's its vibrance. It is moment by moment.
And here's the point. If at any time it does not operate in any moment that doesn't represent it succinctly and clearly, then it ain't it. It ain't it.
And because you can see, and then again, this takes me back right back to Sternberg. You can begin to see the intimacy, the passion that is not becoming the commitment,
As well as you should be able to see when it is.
as well as you should be able to see when it becomes consummate. When it becomes the intimacy of that consummate acknowledgement. When you personalize it, because when you personalize it, and this is the imagery that you get when you think of Christ, when you personalize it, you actualize it.
Again, what comes to mind is what you've talked about many times, and I talk about the 7 attitudes of love, and the number one is sacrifice.
It's sacrifice, exactly.
And where's in our lives in that is the demonstration. You can say it all day long, but until you demonstrate it, it doesn't have what it needs until it's demonstrated.
So it's demonstrated because it cannot be actualized.
Right. And so
You know?
that's what love is. That's what love does.
Yeah, that's exactly what it does.
Yeah.
It actualizes that affirmation of congruity and commitment. I know what this is. I'm not confused by what it's not.
And see, this is good because what we're saying is, in essence, God is love. There is a commitment that is associated with God that transcends everything that we could ever occur or we could ever experience or occur that could occur in our lives. That is that kind of congruency that no matter what the situation is, that there's a commitment there that stands 10 toes down in that situation at all times. It's basically what we call hope when there's no understanding, no clarity.
And it is, and here's the punchline or the byline, the through line, if you will. Yeah, let me get my metaphor right. Here's the through line. Here's the through line. The consistency becomes the certainty that is the confirmation. Every single time I do it is every single time I get it. There are 4 things that we look for: clarity, consistency, confirmation, and certainty, and the acceptance of what we ultimately acknowledge. That's how critical thinking becomes reasoning: consistency, confirmation, certainty, and clarity. And that through line, when it is applied in this acknowledgement, is precisely what Chopra is talking about when he tells you God is as
We
are.
are. And here, when we say God, we are associating this commitment to something that emulates above and beyond any circumstance
And any situational assessment.
any situation. So
Yeah.
so it's when we say love, it's innately in it. The word that is sometimes overlooked, that is so vital to the clarifier of it, it is commitment.
Yes. Yes.
It is commitment,
It is that. Yes.
but it's that commitment that I think is we're missing it when we speak this word because of what you said. It requires something of us.
Yes.
It
It
requires something of us.
yeah.
And it's from us, not anyone else. It requires something of us
Yes.
to
Mm-hmm.
love. And that is the determining, is that's what we're trying to associate and establish a relationship with, or a partnership with, that alignment with.
And once the clarity and precision of the consistency, the certainty, the confirmation, and the unity of that acknowledgement is actualized, the us emerges, the united spirit emerges. And when you see that uniting of spirit, you are now completing what is most commonly referred to as the trilogy, the Holy Trilogy.
Okay, now
You,
you
yeah, I
didn't,
went there.
yeah, you didn't went there. Yeah,
You
you
told
did.
you told me you told me
You didn't went there because now you didn't open up enough. But again, that is the sense of wholeness.
that is the sense of wholeness.
The
It
sense of
is a
wholeness.
trilogy. Yes.
Again, the words that we use when I say things like universal,
Mm-hmm.
when you say the trilogy, we're basically talking about that universality, that no matter where you are, what state you're in,
Exactly.
it's all included and encompassing.
And because it is, and listen to the thought. Listen to the thought. Because it is, the quality of its integration systemically. See what I just did? Is
Mhm.
integrated systemically facilitates your trust and confidence that there's nothing that is beyond our capacity to achieve. Because everything that we do is integrated as a systemic alignment of purposing and meaning.
Therein lies the hope
The hope.
for every circumstance that we confront.
Exactly.
I mean, I mean, when you know what you know that you know, then therein lies the key to get past, or get turn hope into reality, is to know what you know.
And to accept by knowing what you know, and here it is. You've heard the nickel diamond version of it every single day. It is what it is.
Oh, mm,
Yeah. Uh huh.
if you could get it to that point where the clarity is what it is. See, in many cases, we use that statement or that phrase, "it is what it is," in confusion.
Oh, yeah. Because it becomes a punchline metaphor
Yeah,
for confusion.
yeah, for
Yeah.
confusion, because it's no rationalization of it. It's because I don't understand. It is what it is.
And then
Um,
when you want to even take it further out to its most vulgar expression, and I'm not going to say the word because it's PG rated thing here. SH happens.
yeah, yeah,
Okay. All
yeah.
right.
I mean, but again, you know, I'm I, I'm gonna I'm on this health and wellness journey,
Oh,
and
okay.
I'm putting it out on social media, and I'm putting it out as I do my exercise every day, and I'm letting people know that commitment is what I'm establishing every day, a commitment, which is basically the love mindset.
Exactly.
Okay, and I'm being the first partaker in this because we're talking about longevity. Okay,
We're talking about longevity. Yep.
that's what we talk about, goal. So
Goals.
So the point I'm saying is that as we are going through this, we need to understand there's a purpose for it, and the clarity that we get begins to dictate our choices, our decisions that are in line with what we know this clarity is going to present. It gives you steps that lead to outcomes that are in your best interest, that are in your best interest. And the great thing about it is not only is it in your and I best interest, it's in every one of our best interests. My actions are in your best interest. The actions that I do that are beneficial to me are in your best interest,
They most certainly are.
and vice versa. And when we realize the value that we have towards one another, the value that we have, because my fulfillment is in you and yours is in me, because that's what this thing was meant to be, a collaboration, a connection that we be able to reach our full potential
You know,
in one another.
this is precisely what active sociologists like Kurt Lewin, Simon Ash, the psychologist, talked about when they facilitated the concept of what is called person and environment psychology. We call it humanistic organizational psychology. And 21st century is now psycho-ergonomic engineering, how we build communities, but people and the community engaging in a purposefulness that has a meaning.
And here's the thing about that. In light of what conversation we're having tonight, that is not contrary to the structure of the creator.
Oh no, it is
It
a
is not.
manifestation of it.
That's what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
because of the way in which it's verbalized or structured or explained,
Explained. Yeah.
it has a tendency for those that have other thoughts which don't have any. And here's the thing, those that have those thoughts don't have a plan to do what you just said as it relates to putting a structure in place to bring that unity into reality, are quick to say that it's not in line with the greater good.
And by so doing that, minimize the significance of the greater good.
Yeah.
You know,
And because I didn't say it the way you said it or preference it in a way in which you preference it, it makes it different. And it's so interesting because this really leads into the fact that God is love, and so many people interpret that God so many different ways.
exactly. Yeah.
And so
Exactly.
we use that now to differentiate. You see how cut this thing up. We use 3 words and it got 100 different reasons, 100 different meanings.
Yeah.
3 words.
3 words.
And you can be, depending on what part of the country, the world you're in, could have a totally different word. But you know the one that they can't change, no matter where they are in the world,
No matter. Yeah.
is love.
There's love.
And it's associated with whomever you denote the association with love is. It's love. That it's whomever God is in your vernacular. It's associated with something that's universal for everyone.
And that ultimately becomes what we collectively are so fearful of. That liberation of engagement with life. And by liberation, I'm talking about the freedom to engage with life, to see the logical, integrated, fluidic environment that is life constantly moving, constantly integrated, and how it aligns itself and in many cases juxtapositions itself with the living, organic, vibrant emotion that is love, becomes the match, becomes the stability or the affirmation of what our meaning and purpose. Interactive mindfulness, fourth instinct. Our interactive mindfulness. I think, therefore I am. I am, therefore I think. I see my purpose. I see my meaning. That transitions us. Fifth instinct now transitions us away from the pettiness, the myopic sense of urgency that we assign to things, the way we argue for the limitations, transitions us away from that. And in an instant, and this is the instant that is sometimes referred to as born again, the transformation that occurs.
And therein lies there's no born again without the transformation.
Without transformation,
Without transformation.
or
Not
the ground,
identification or association, but
yeah, the actual
transformation.
transformation, because without that capacity for transitioning through this, there is no transformational outcome.
Well,
You, you continue to be what you are. Yeah,
regardless of who you associate with.
and there you go. And coming to mind like a flash reel, a through line again is Dr. Angelo saying, when a person shows you who they are, believe them. That's who they are
On any stage or any
on
case, in
any
any case.
stage. And see
It
that is your ultimate litmus test. When you really want to evaluate how effective your communication is, one of the things that is first contact in any love relationship, in any formation of it, it's always going to come down to first contact. And first contact is always going to be that art of communication, that active and responsive teaching. How actively and responsively this person teaches you in your interpretation, your internalization, and your compilation of everything that you see from him or her that leads you to the choice that you make, because it is a choice, the choice that you make to love and engage in the fluidic possibilities of what love brings to you is the $64,000 question that will trip people up all the time. You want to run away from that. Because, at the end of the day, it's you who made the choice.
and here's the point. You get to determine the success or failure of it.
It's your choice.
Yes, but I'm
Yes.
saying it, but here's the point. You give up on yourself if you fail. If you fail, it's because you chose to.
And here you are still being confused by the statement that it is your decisions that matter. It's your choice. It is your choice that defines the trajectory of any decision that ensues.
Because here's the thing about a choice. Choice has motivations behind it.
Absolutely so.
Has motivations behind it. And
Absolutely so.
and and motivations will either cause you to continue or to quit.
Yep.
And if you're not, and those will only be rooted and grounded on the inside of you. It's only there that you're going to be able to establish your motivation.
That's exactly it. We have even narrowed it down in the field of neurological psychology. We've even narrowed it down to the preoccupational capacity of the subconscious mind to engage in this. This is where we argue through our fears and establish our strengths, our purposing and our meaning. And chief among those defense mechanisms that are in play is always the first hurdle we must overcome, and that is denial. We argue for this is not happening to me when, well, who else is in the room? It's you. You are in this struggle. You have to determine in your selfness. Notice I did not say selfishness, in your selfness. You have to see the way that systemically your emotions are linking you to what it is you feel. And own that and be that.
And here's the reality, guys, is that it's okay to own it, because the whole
Absolutely.
purpose of being aware of it is that you have the ability or the choice to change it. If you don't like what it is that you see, you are the only one that has the ability to change it,
This
to
is
adjust it.
two of our most famous personal psychologists, humanistic psychologists, were Abraham Maslow, who established what's called your hierarchy of needs. This is what you need as opposed to what you want, and this is what you will pursue to get them. And you get to that point where you become self actualized, self efficient. And Carl Rogers, who says personal person psychology, your sense of owning it. You coming to terms with what that need in you actually defines as your capacity to grow and develop. We sometimes lose sight of that in our search for meaning. We sometimes displace it in the significance of what the ownership of that search speaks to. Because when you can own your choices, you are the affector and the actualizer of your decisions. You line your dominoes up and they are going to fall in the pattern that you establish. You own that. Nobody else does. You do. And in a nutshell, whose life is it? Person that's looking at you in the mirror. This is why that great philosopher Rocky Balboa tells you there's your greatest enemy.
Or Michael Jackson,
Or Michael
the
Jackson in The
man in
Man
the
in the
mirror.
Mirror. Absolutely so. You
Yeah,
know?
it's so profound, but so simple. And I think we want to make the simple complete complex,
Oh yeah.
um, because it's easier to deny what we don't want to accept.
Because it scares you to realize that you can't accept this. You see,
Yeah,
that's why
but
fear is so important.
yeah, I get it, but in this journey that I've been on,
Mm-hmm.
um, I've had to acknowledge some things, had to confront some things,
Yeah.
and and I would say that there's none of us that don't have to do that.
Oh no,
We we
absolutely
we
so.
we we've all got to accept some things, but it's only for the benefit and the purpose of becoming better.
And see, in a nutshell, Juan, there is your argument for why those three steps in thinking, critical thinking, and reasoning are so significant. You understand what it is you think, you are accepting what it is you understand by your critical assessment of its impact and influence on you, and you finally actualize your ability to overcome it by the acknowledgement. That is your reasoning. If I do this, I get that. The symbiotic biometry of it. Because we are bionic, we are biometric people. This or that. The symbolism of seeing that the moment I accept this is the moment I let go of that, because two things cannot exist as a dichotomy in the same field of vision. They cannot, because the capacity to minimize the confusion of them is directly proportional to the clarity and the affirmation of the meaning you assign to them. That's why Maslow's telling you, I don't care what it is you say you want, you'll never get what you need as long as you chase what you want. That's the point.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
that self actualization thing.
It's you know, when you don't know what you don't know,
Yep.
when you don't know what you don't know, you're bound by what you don't know that you don't know.
You get locked, you get hemmed up in that vicious cycle. And see, and that is that kind of sort of is, in a nutshell, the viability of the subconscious mind. Because subconsciously is where those prenocturnal, because that's where it happens, we in dream states, altered sense of reality, altered consciousness, as we fluidically call it. This is where you work that out.
But I'm saying to you, it's your choice to stay in that cycle, into that circle, because
Precisely.
if you do not desire to want to be better, I mean, a conversation that you and I had many months ago, as you talked about how your parents raised you to
Mm-hmm.
want to be better, to want to be better.
To want to,
I
yeah,
mean,
be better
that's an intentionality that will drive you through the entirety of your life,
every
because
step of the way. Yeah,
that will cause you to want to pursue something greater at
exactly.
every point. And how you get to getting out of what you don't know is to challenge it by wanting to know something more than you know.
And holding yourself to that accountability and responsibility. See, that's how you heal yourself. You know,
Well, but again, man, the I'm not going to say it was painful, but the fact is the matter is that you have to accept some things. And when you accept some things, boy, there's some liberty on the other side of it.
because you let go. This is there again. Therein again lies that capacity for our fifth instinct: transition, transformation. I transition away from this struggle, and in so doing, I transform my entire outlook.
And check this out, guys. It does not mean that the environment or the circumstances has to change.
No, no.
It has nothing to do with your environment or your circumstances. None whatsoever.
As
It's
a
the it's as you step into how you perceive it is based on the in on you. It's your perception of it.
And that is why in that link between thinking, critical thinking, and reasoning, that is why once you understand that and accept what you understand, that acknowledgement of it is the transformative moment.
Because then guess what? At that moment, guess what happens as it relates to your decision making? Your choices now. Your choices now become different. You have different choices that you would have otherwise not had, which in turn would have made your actions now different. Your movement,
Precisely.
your
Mm-hmm.
movements now become different, which in turn affects your outcomes.
And the moment you affect the outcome, you enhance the stability that there will be an outcome. There's your affirmation. What I do now is in fact going to give me the ability to create my reality,
Validating
validating
everything,
everything.
everything that you've just experienced or expressed through the change or the transformation that you've allowed to occur because of your desire to make that something that you want to change, something that you want to pursue.
Now, this is what Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor, psychologist, Holocaust survivor, gives us with his theory of locomotion, locomotive theory, where he says, in our search for meaning and purpose, we transcend the realities of our circumstances and our situations
Man,
because we
go ahead. Go
yeah
ahead.
we
I'm
we
just
use those realities as the causational comparison and contrast. We ask ourselves, is this all that there is? We ask ourselves, is this all that? And we always have the ability, because here's that argument. My mom's saying, be better than. Here's that argument. We are constantly in search of better than. Better than is a motivational law. This is the God aspect of what it means to transcend beyond. I will give you whatever limitations that are necessary for you to internalize that, because I know that once you get it, you got it. This is the side bet that he and Lucifer are making when they say, okay, run Job through whatever it is you want to run him through. Because I know at the end of the day, Job gets it. Job's got it. I know that. Why do I know that? Because Job is as
Yeah.
I am.
And see, you got to understand that you just hit something, boy. We near the end of our night, but I'm telling you,
Yeah.
you said people will say reality is the most. How do they put reality as the pinnacle of the experience?
Yeah.
And
They try to sum total it.
reality has boundaries.
Exactly. Reality is the only thing in this that is conditional.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
because it is a structure. It is a structured limitation. It's designed for you to overcome it. Because there's a comparison and contrast for you. You hear people say it from time to time. Is this all there is? No.
Well, I mean, but the thing about it is because that's all they can imagine.
And therein lies the unfetteredness of the interactive mindfulness that your fourth instinct compels you to.
Do you see how grand love is?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you see the capacity to be able to transcend your circumstances with love?
Look at the organic and the vibrance of what you just said, because that's what it is.
It is awesome, guys, to be able to carry in your arsenal the ability to transcend your reality.
And in so doing, constantly and effectively satisfy your need state.
Uh,
Maslow told you, you get to the apex of the pyramid. Once you get to the apex, there's no place else you need go. You are where you are for a reason. Charles Darwin said it's not the smartest of the species, it's not the fastest, it's that organism that can be adaptable. And as long as we have that ability, we'll survive.
you just rolled out my subtitle in my book, right?
Well, see, this is
Uh,
what happens
uh,
when you give me the book to read. I had to pay attention.
no. I mean, but it's just you just the subtitle "Love Made Simple," the
Love very simple.
guide to inner peace, contentment, and success. Meaning, in other words, your needs are met. Your
There's
needs are met.
no greater satisfaction than a person who has their needs being
I,
met.
I mean, but the point of the matter is there's a systematic way to
Yep.
being able to have your needs met, and
Yeah.
love's the answer. And look, guys, we're going to put
Yeah.
systematically
Mm-hmm.
this thing called love can transcend or
Transformational. Yeah.
transformational. It transfers
Mm-hmm.
whatever your circumstances that you're in. It has the capacity. What would you say, Doc? It takes you out of it internally,
Yep.
allowing you an opportunity to transcend it, transfer through it
Mm-hmm.
in a way that is greater than you can imagine or see or to understand it to produce all of your needs met.
The fixed point or the moment in a cathartic therapeutic engagement. This is where you're now in my office and we're talking about what it is you need to do to get to where
Right,
you want to go.
right.
Is to realize the distinct separation between control and management. When you argue for control, you say that your circumstances and your situations are beyond your capacity to self regulate. When you understand and integrate management, you get to decide. You get to decide how much of an influence your decision making will have on your outcome result. So you are in effect putting yourself in the moment. You are putting yourself in this circumstance and this situation. And the moment you do that is the moment that operational definition. This is what, who was it? This is the position that one of our greatest cognitive psychologists was placing us in when he said that we are defining our capacity for growth and development by our operationalized clarity. We are looking at where we are in order to get to where we need to be. That psychologist was Jean Piaget. And we still to this day base many of our educational schematas and systems on Piaget's theories of operational clarity and definition. The moment you define what it is you're doing, you have responsibility and accountability for it. You are making this choice. You are deciding how much of an influence you are going to let your environment have to motivate you or distract you. And that is the singular difference between, the multi-gazillionaires of the universe that we encounter and those people who are struggling to make ends meet. The same thing that got them to where they needed to be is exactly the same thing that can get you there too. And it all boils down to my mom was a genius. Be better than.
Mm, mm.
My mom and
I'm gonna
dad,
tell you.
be
I'm gonna
better
tell
than.
you that you have not hit it on the head for everybody to just understand that there is no secret sauce.
No, no, why
There
not?
is no secret sauce. We all are cut from the exact same mold. If
What?
only we have the ability to be able to have the energy, the motivation, and the desire to want to be greater than.
Greater than, Kunta Kinte's.
Yeah.
Behold, the only
Yeah.
thing greater than you. You have that ability.
All right. We're gonna
All right,
wrap it up.
here we are.
This has been a great, great show. But again, one thing I want to mention to everybody is something that we do. It's called a real life talk. It's
Yeah.
once a month. It's the fourth Saturday at 5 o'clock. And here it is right here. I'm
Ah,
gonna
good. You
take
got the
us
picture up.
out.
Good.
I'm gonna
Cool.
take us
Take us
out
out. Yeah.
of the picture. I had to cut that out because that was not the right one.
That was not
Man,
the right one? Oh,
that's
no.
not the right one. I don't even know what I done now.
Oh, man.
I'm gonna have to cut it out. We're
But it
gonna have
still
to cut that
works.
out. But anyway, it's a once a month. We got a thing called real life talk, unity
Real
through
life
love.
talk. Yeah.
Go to the website and go to the events, and you will see that as we have once a month at 5 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, evening. And it's really support one another. We want to encourage each other. We want to lift each other up. And it's just a place where we can come together and understand that it's a unity through love.
It is that.
And just be come on out. Just register. Go to clearjourney.org. Register for the once a month event, and you have access to come on. It's on Zoom. It's virtual.
Yeah.
So by all means, come on, be a part of it. And with
And
that
it is
being,
so non-judgmental, you know?
absolutely, we are in it together to support one another. All righty. That being the case, we're going to call tonight a done deal. But I tell you guys, this has been a great thing. I think we're going to be. I think we got our pocket here. We got our lane here. So
Yeah, we got our window. We're there.
All righty. So, like in always, guys, we can't change life, but we can help you navigate it, just as we do every time we come here, just making things a little bit clearer. Till next time, we'll see you then.
Be safe out there.
All righty.
Thank you for watching this episode. Take a moment to head over to our social media platforms, connect with us, and leave a comment. We'd also love it if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, head over to clearjourney.org for more great resources. We'll see you next time on the Philosophy of Love podcast.